The ground pangolin is an unusual animal that belongs to a group of pangolins, which are among the most critically endangered and illegally trafficked animals in the world. They are armor-plated, distinguished from other mammals due to the layer of protective horny scales. They are the second largest and most widespread of the 4 pangolin species in Africa. When threatened, ground pangolins can roll themselves into an almost impenetrable ball, wrapping their strong tail around their body, leaving only their sharp scales exposed to any predator. Pangolins are almost completely covered in overlapping protective scales. The scales are composed of keratin, the same material that forms human hair and fingernails, and give pangolins an appearance similar to a pinecone or artichoke. The underside of a pangolin is not covered with scales, but sparse fur instead. When threatened, it usually rolls up into a ball, thus protecting its vulnerable belly. Mature adults are light brown, olive, and dark brown in color, while young are pale brown or pink in color. The limbs are adapted for digging. They have 5 toes each, with the forefeet having 3 long curved claws, which are designed to demolish termite nests and dig burrows. Because of these claws, pangolins must balance on the outer edges of their forefeet and tuck in the claws to prevent damage. Pangolins have long, broad tails and small, conical heads with jaws that lack teeth. To replace the act of chewing, the pangolin's stomach is muscular, with keratinous spines that project into the interior and contain small stones to mash and grind prey, similarly to a bird's gizzard. Pangolins also have long, muscular tongues to reach and lap up ants and termites in cavities. Their tongues stretch so far that they are actually longer than their bodies. The tongue is attached in the lower cavity, near the pelvis and the last pair of ribs, and is able to retract and rest in the chest cavity. Pangolins have reduced pinnae, so have poor hearing, as well as poor vision, although they do have a strong sense of smell. The ground pangolin lives in southern and eastern Africa, from Sudan and northeastern Chad to South Africa. It occurs in savanna and woodland, but not in desert or forest, often near a water source. The ground pangolin is solitary and nocturnal, although in winter often it will venture out during the late afternoon. It spends most of its time on the ground, though it is able to climb and can swim well. It normally walks slowly, with its head swaying and its tail dragging on the ground, although it can run and walk on 2 legs. Ground pangolins are able to dig their own burrows, but they prefer to live in those dug by spring hares or anteaters and sleep curled up in them. Little is known about how they communicate with each other, but they probably use visual cues, smells, sounds, and touch. Ground pangolins are carnivorous, myrmecophagous animals that eat mainly termites and ants, and occasionally larvae or other soft-bodied insects. Ground pangolins are polygynous, males fighting fiercely for access to a female. Breeding occurs throughout the year, even while females are rearing young. Gestation is for about 139 days, and usually 1 young is born. Births take place in an underground shelter. The babies are carried outside once they reach 2 to 4 weeks old. A pup will stay with its mother for around 3 months and may accompany its father for an extra month, though this is rare. Then it becomes completely independent, but remains in its mother's home range until it is about 1 year old. Females probably breed once they are 3, 4 years old, and males probably reach maturity around the same age, but may not breed until they are 5, 7 years old. Ground pangolins are under threat due to the great economic value of their flesh and scales, and the loss of their habitat to agriculture. Lions and hyenas are among their predators, and they can be killed by brush fires and electrocuted by electric fences.